Breaking now, you're looking live at downtown Seattle, where the mayor, police, and fire chiefs just revealed how they hope to handle protests planned for this weekend. This comes as new video shows workers building up a wall of concrete barricades just outside of the West Police Precinct, which was the site of violent clashes between protesters and police almost a week ago. KOMO's Denise Whitaker joins us live now with a breakdown of the city's plans. Denise.
Yes, the first part of the plan coming from the mayor this morning was really pleading with protesters to just remain peaceful. She and the chiefs also made it very clear they have not asked for any federal assistance at all, like what we've seen happening in Portland with federal agents down there clashing with protesters. Already this week, she and her police and fire chiefs ran down the violence that's occurred with a lot of vandalism, arson fires, looting, and more. Plus, Chief Carmen Best said that about a dozen officers were hurt, some of them seriously. So what's next, especially now that officers cannot use tear gas, pepper spray, flashbangs, or rubber bullets? The chief specifically said how they will abide by that new ordinance from City Council.
We are not asking to use CS, also known as tear gas, at demonstrations, but we are asking for the ability to come with at least as many tools as we can to make sure that the public is safe. This weekend, because of this legislation, the entire police department, myself included, I'll be taking this pepper spray off of my belt and putting a riot stick on there.
Without those tools for police to protect themselves, the chief said they found it necessary to fortify the West Precinct as an added measure of protection for officers who must continue to work every day.
We are first responders, essential responders, showing up every single day throughout the pandemic because the work needs to be done, and we don't have the luxury of sitting at home in a safe COVID-19 safe environment. We're out here every single day. Some of us throughout the weekend. We don't get days off.
Neither does the fire department. And that chief, Harold Scoggins, said his fire department, his firefighters, I should say, had to wait for police at times to clear scenes so that they would be safe for the firefighters to go in and put fires out. Chief Scoggins is also asking business owners to do all they can to lock up dumpsters on their property and clear other items that arsonists might use to start fires. Some of those fires, he said earlier this week, were so dangerous because those fires were started at businesses that had homes and people living and sleeping above them. A serious life issue. Now, the chiefs did not go into any more specifics on exactly how they plan to handle any confrontations that may come from protesters. They just made it very clear they're not asking for federal assistance. They're asking people to keep it peaceful, and what they're trying to do is stop any confrontations that may arise, because the mayor saying that if they have no one to fight with, then perhaps those who are coming to look for a fight will leave. So this is kind of a wrap-up of what's been said so far, but of course we have to wait and see what actually happens as these protests get going over the weekend, Molly.
All right, Denise, thanks very much. King County Executive Dow Constantine also addressed federal agents arriving in Seattle ahead of this weekend's protests. He says he received information that a federal government plane landed at Boeing Field with more than a dozen personnel on board. The Department of Homeland Security says they have a limited number of agents in Seattle on standby to protect federal buildings. Retired FBI agent David Gomez warns this could potentially cause more harm than good.
If they send tactical units here and those units maintain a low profile, that's one thing. But once they become visible, they're going to provoke the more violent segments of the protesters.
The mayor also says if federal forces do intervene during the protests, she will do everything in her power to limit their actions. A federal judge has granted a temporary restraining order blocking federal agents from arresting or using physical force against journalists or legal observers in the protests that are going on in Portland. That move came late yesterday after Portland's mayor made an appearance at a protest where federal agents used tear gas. The judge had previously ruled that journalists and legal observers are exempt from police orders requiring protesters to disperse. In Thursday's ruling, the judge said law enforcement objections were outweighed by First Amendment concerns.